What's up, team? It's Sherman here from Geek Psychology. We don't improve by simply living. We have to be intentional about it. It's a quote from John C. Maxwell, and let's get right into this video. So I want to thank you very much for having the interest in yourself and in personal growth at whatever point you're at in life, and wanting to check out this video and kind of focus more on growing, on being a hero. I'm about to give you another kind of piece of information to put on your LifeHUD, your little heads-up display that you should always have with you. If you didn't see the other videos, this one is the second in the series so far, but it was about a resource globe, the first one, and this video is going to be a bit lighter in terms of like technical information, but just as important. You should check that video out if you haven't seen it, but there's no specific order. So imagine this. An adventurer wakes up and stretches, begins the day. He's getting ready, like eating breakfast and checking the magical display of messages from other heroes, I guess, that he's gotten. He goes down to the local market. He's looking for this new quest to follow, and he hears of a Naga sea serpent that's ravaging this coastal town. And he's like, okay, well, I have a general idea of where this is, but there are several coastal towns. He asks a local NPC, how do I get to the nearest coastal town? Because that's probably where he is. She kind of shrugs that way, I guess. Great. The adventurer is ready. He grabs some rations and he starts to look for a mount. He picks up a random mount and goes that way. Well, now, guess what? Of course, he takes a difficult path. He gets delayed by some gnolls that jump him, and he barely escapes with his life. Maybe he arrives at the right town, maybe not. And if he does, it's probably too late. Some hero beat him to it and claimed all the glory and the loot and the reputation and the experience. So now what? Well, the adventurer is at some random town with nothing to show for it, and is waiting again for news of a new way to join the world of the heroes. So the hero, though, as opposed to the adventurer, the hero knows exactly where the Naga beast is. She's done her research before running out and knows its weaknesses, its strengths, its loot table. She's asked a proper oracle or guide and has been pointed in the correct direction, the right direction, instead of just by some towny NPC pointing in some random direction. She hasn't followed those random leads, basically. And she's not in a random town to start with. She's strategically created her home base, that she knows exactly where it is. She knows how to get to the Naga beast, where the dangers are, knowing where to steer clear of, and where those gnolls are, and what's the most important, most effective route. She's got her own personal trusted mount to actually get her there, not just some random one. And she can now actually arrive at the correct town, and she can defeat the beast and spread her influence and reputation even more. This gives her some awesome, sweet loot, some epic loot, and now she's able to move on to bigger and more impactful challenges. So most people, as you can probably guess, are in that category of the first adventurer. They kind of know where they're going, but they're kind of just following like where the day takes them. And so they don't really make sure it happens, and that's what we got to do. So, we all have our moments of like feeling stuck, where we're, putting out fires in random towns and stuff like that. But the key is to be aware of that and to make conscious steps to focus ourselves. And so in this video, we're going to talk about the Minimap of the LifeHUD. So there are 3 basic components to the Minimap and one kind of connected piece that's just as necessary that I really like to add in there. So basically it's where you are now, where you're going, the path, and the vehicle, the mount. So where you are is basically awareness of yourself or your situation. Where you're going is the goal, the aspiration, the direction, and the path is the steps you need to take or kind of knowledge of the obstacles, the mountains, the challenges, and the vehicle is the best method or medium. And I will unpack that a little bit right now. So where you are basically is, just awareness of yourself, of where you're trying to go comes after that. But first you need to start with, what are you? Where are you? What is your kind of position in relationship to your goal? So in order to understand that, you should rate yourself from like 1 to 10 is the easiest. Give some sort of like numerical or even ABC, whatever it is, clear rating, okay? Because if it's just kind of a vague idea, then you're not going to really know how to take the steps that you're going to need to address later. So for example, let's say that you're depressed, which is understandable because a lot of awful things are going on right now in your life and in the world, okay? But if you're just like, I'm depressed, then you're not actually aware of where you are, right? You just have this kind of blanket statement. I'm in Ashenvale. Okay, well, that's a huge territory, right? So I'm depressed. Well, if 1 is the most depressed anybody can be, the worse off anybody can be, and then 10 is the happiest, the best that anybody can be, then where are you in that sense? Okay, maybe I'm a 3. Not really, but just we're going through this example. Maybe I'm a 3, okay? Well, if I'm a 3, then what makes me not a 2? What makes me not a 4? Okay, you need to like slowly clarify and pinpoint where you are. Because it's like if you were to open up the map pane in a video game and it just shows the whole map of the region or the world and no little like, you are here marker. You're going to have a hard time figuring out like which direction you need to go in order to get to where you want to go, right? So by rating yourself and kind of figuring out, well, today, I produced a video that was really good. So maybe I'm not as depressed as a 2. If I were a 2, then I would just lay in bed and not really do anything. But if I were a 4, maybe I would have a little bit more energy. Maybe I would have done this thing a little bit differently. Woken up a little bit happier, right? So it's clarifying where that is and kind of focusing the GPS onto to where you are to give you that clear marker of like, this is where you are, this is the direction you're facing. Okay? So you got that going on, you need to know where you're going, right? So expand your goal and connect more to it. So I wouldn't say to go from a 3 to a 10. I don't think that should be your goal. But maybe a 5, maybe a 6 is fine, right? So then imagine that. Like, well, what if I woke up at a 6 or a 5 today? What would be different in my life? What would I be doing? Well, I'd probably go for a walk. I'd probably play tennis or read a good book or something like that. Maybe I would go out and meet with my friends, have a drink, go eat something that I really like, you know? Those are the keys that are pointing you to where you need to go. It's like if you have that mini map, then you have your arrow, like where you are, where you're facing, and then over here, just kind of off the map maybe, you have a little sign that's pointing you to follow that direction, right? That's what that is. Like, it's showing you that in order to get better, in order to feel better, for this example, then you should probably go get more exercise. You should go for a walk. You should read that book. You should go meet your friends, be a little bit more social. So it's giving you the key ideas for where you can follow or where you should go. And then the path. You should actually do some proper research about this too. Like, you have your orientation, where you're trying to go, but other people have been through that journey too, right? So figure out like how they actually approached it from their side. It might not be the same as yours, but that's fine. It'll still kind of paint that landscape a bit more, so it's not just all fog of war. That rhymed. So, make sure that you do some research. You model other people. There are methods of doing pretty much everything in life that other people have gone through and probably written about. So look for that stuff. You're not the only one on this journey. You're not the only one going to that Naga sea serpent. Right? There are other heroes that heard about it too that are going in that direction. Some have fought that before and it respawned or something like that, right? So there are paths and research that you can follow. And the vehicle. This is kind of your best medium or method for doing it. This is where I feel that personality types and the different personality systems like Enneagram and the Big Five or whatever, those all actually are helpful here because it helps you kind of tailor your style to that journey. So if you are depressed, you're at a 3, and you want to get at a 5 or a 6, and you're an ISFP, then you have this idea of like, well, I really want to figure out who I am and where I stand on all these different issues in life because that's how I make decisions. So it's important to realize that is one extremely key piece. And then your auxiliary function comes in there and it's like, well, you need to go out. You need to be in the wild. You need to experience some more of the environment, the outside world. Maybe producing art or whatever, that's fine too. But get out a little bit. Get out of your head. Right? Even those two pieces together are enough to kind of shape your method, your vehicle for getting to where you got to go. It gives you a lot of like strong a lot of like this just really solid method of getting to somewhere that you can use to tailor how you do it. Like, you're still going in the same path, but this will get you there a little bit faster. You don't need to walk. You don't need to go the slowest way possible, right? Maybe you can get a flying machine and fly over some stuff, right? If you really know what your personality type is and your strengths and weaknesses, this will help out a lot. Don't wait for this to happen. I mean, I'm sure you know that, but like, if you keep delaying it, you're going to wake up and be like, oh man, I didn't do anything for the past year. What is this? Or longer, right? So make sure that like when you wake up, you actually have that mini map up there and you're like, okay, this is where I am. I know where I need to go. the path is becoming clearer and clearer, and I'm going to use my strengths and avoid my weaknesses if possible in order to get there. All right, so that's it for this video. I want to once again thank you for checking it out. Hopefully I've given you some good information that you can tailor to your journey. I cannot do this for all 16 types, or every different instance in somebody's life, but tailor it to yourself, reshape it, and take that time to dig in more and more. And keep up the lifelong questing. All right? Good luck, have fun with that, and see ya. Peace.